Tunasikika vijijini, mijini na hata jijini kukuletea taarifa mchana kutwa. Usiku tunaketi kitako, tunadadavua tukichanganua taarifa na makala muhimu yanayokuhusu wewe na familia yako. Ungana na Bernard Ngozi kwenye Open Forum Political Show kuanzia saa 4 usiku hadi dakika zake kila siku ya wiki kwenye
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for another amazing episode, another amazing moment. And I still remains to this one tonight. I'm having my co-pilot who will be driving in the plane together inside the studio. Let him say hi to us.
Hello, everybody from wherever you're watching us from. Welcome back to yet another show of the Open Forum Political Show. As usual, Douglas. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. We are joining up together, and tonight we'll be having a discussion. We will not have a lot, but we'll have a few and briefly discussion whereby we'll be checking out the details and what has happened today. But before we go to that, let me give you the updates and the headlines of the day that we'll be speaking all about the appointed MPs or the reshuffle of the MPs from the different categories, and also we're checking out about the story that has been raining out about the Madare people, whereby the goons attacked some people from Thika Road and other in Madare, whereby people claiming have lost properties and others have been seen, others have been suffering so much because of what happened on Tuesday. So we'll be checking more details. So that are also other breaking out news that will be checking more details towards them. And what I urge you everyone is, let us come on board, let us have make sense to our politics, and is mass for life as our slogan goes. And please invite somebody to watch with, don't just watch alone and just maintain alone. The link to join up the studio is on the comment section, and the principle remains, as Gen Z's normally say, my payment your best. So let us come up early as possible so that we can have the driving of the show together, and we can have the contenters of the show together and agree to disagree so that we can make our Kenya a better place for everyone. So tonight, your views are being applied and are being accepted. So what I ask you is, put them on the comment section. I'll be reading them, and if you feel you can share them, one of them and is there. This is the time, and the time is. So I want to welcome you all with a humble heart, saying that today we are here together so that we can make sense inside our politics. So I've opening remark or our opening flow tonight will be opening with the MPs, the reshuffle inside the state house, inside the parliament today. So let us check out this, and then we're gonna start the conversation.
In Parliament came to an end today with casualties in various committees of the National Assembly. Kiharu constituency lawmaker Ndindi Nyoro was the first casualty in the shake-up, with his position as the Budget Committee chairperson handed over to Alego Songa MP Samuel Atandi of the ODM party. Nyoro, who gave the election today a wide berth, has kept off the public eye, even as the National Assembly majority and minority leaders, Kimani Ichung'wah and Junet Mohamed, accused him of favoritism in budget allocations when he served as its chair. Here's Stephen Leto with that report.
A one-time defender of President William Ruto has been cast aside by the broad-based wave, with his powerful Budget and Appropriation Committee chairmanship position handed over to the Orange Democratic Movement Party under Lego Songa lawmaker Samuel Atandi. Atandi was elected unopposed, with the Kiharu lawmaker absent.
And to that end, I also want to take this opportunity to thank my party leader, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, Prime Minister, and the President of the Republic of Kenya, who have allowed us to join together and work together as Kenyans.
Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah and his minority counterpart Junet Mohamed on Tuesday accused the former chairman Ndindi Nyoro of skewed allocations. Committee members defended their former chair, saying they have been making allocations as a committee.
This committee, the Budget and Appropriations Committee, does not work in isolation. We do not do the budget in isolation. This committee works with the departmental committees. Departmental committees also interact with the executive.
They always say, if you want to kill a dog, give it a bad name. We have seen it happening before the committee was disbanded and even now. But it is good to pray that the law that this committee plays and the law that the Treasury also pray.
Lawmakers told the new leadership to stand firm and ensure every part of the country receives its fair share of the budget.
We must be there to stand as long as what you do is fair, objective, and transparent. Criticisms will be there. That's why you are a politician. Concerning the liaison committee, that it is the responsibility of that committee to make a budget. Chairman, you should nullify the decision that was made by the Speaker of the National Assembly.
Butere MP Tindi Mwale was elected as the chair of the powerful watchdog committee, the Public Accounts Committee, defeating Rarieda MP Otendi Amolo in the election.
It's not going to be the way it has been, that reports come and nothing is done. No. Under my leadership as the Public Accounts Chairman, I'm going to make sure that those reports are implemented, and also where we recommend that an officer should be surcharged, we will even write directly to DCI.
Other MPs elected into chairpersons and vice chairpersons positions include Pokot South MP David Kosing, Ainab Koi Samuel Chepkonga, and Garissa Women Representative Amina Sayed. The changes in Parliament today signifies a purge and shake-up, as well as a looming reorganization of government to accommodate the opposition and the broad-based government arrangement, with pundits now accusing President William Ruto of sweeping under the bars his closest defenders and foot soldiers. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV, Parliament Building.
That's how things are on the ground, and we have the conversation, because tonight is a night for conversation. There may be tricky conversation, but we will have it, and also we'll continue sharing it so that we can have the agreement together. So we have seen the shuffles inside the Parliament. I want to begin with you, Douglas. What do you feel about the shuffle inside the Parliament? Do you feel it to bring the change, or it's just shuffling like always?
No, it's our time to eat. That's what I feel. That's what I think. That's actually what it is. It's politics, huh? And we are in power today, and it's our time to eat, to have those powerful offices, to have power, to have authority, to have those big offices, to have motorcades, and all those benefits that come with it. So we are not even done yet. There are going to be more casualties. Of course, when Raila comes on board, we are always expecting some casualties. Actually, when there's shift in power in any dimension, we're always going to see some casualties, people who will be replaced, people who will come in. So they began last week but one. They began in Senate, and now zimefika National Assembly. But okay, so Kenyans generally have, this conversation has been trending online, especially on X throughout the day. And Kenyans have been generally asking why do we do away with Ndindi Nyoro? Because, he's a very smart financial minder. I don't know about this Atandi guy. I don't know much about him. So I don't know how good he's going to be in that office. But, the track record for Ndindi Nyoro, especially in his constituency, speaks for itself. Schools, he's done a really good job with schools, hospitals in his constituency. So it's we are watching to see what is going to happen. Are we going to see more casualties all the way to the top, to the leadership of the House? Probably there have been rumors that the Speaker might be one of the casualties that are going to come. So we're going to see more and more changes in the House. But up until this point, I think Parliament has failed us while we had a minority that was actually a minority. now we have a minority that is actually getting perks from the government of the day. So the state capture has gone full circle and it's now complete. So, just waiting to see what will happen. But as much as people hate Gachagua, and his supporters in parliament are now our only hope. Those are the only people who can speak for us in parliament right now, or rather, just stand for the truth or for what is right. Because the majority and minority, okay, that is ODM and Kenya Kwanza affiliate parties. Those are all gone. They're not going to speak for Kenyans. We know how politics are. Parliament, people don't go there to use their brains. I've said this on this show, Time Without Number. People don't go to parliament to speak for the people who sent them there. They speak for the party. They take the party stand. So now we have this alignment. So we expect the two of the majority parties, let me just use that word, the majority parties in parliament, that is ODM and UDA, they're now together, and they're going to be they're going to be defending the policies of government as much as they may not be pro people as we expect them to be. So those small parties, Gachagua supporters, those are what we are now just relying on. Ndindi Nyoro was not necessarily, he did not pronounce himself as Gachagua's supporters. He chose to stay away from the impeachment politics. I think he went to Dubai on a vacation or something. He just chose to keep off from the whole impeachment thing. Because it might come to bite him in the future if he was vocal about it. And people don't forget, and especially Mount Kenya people don't really forget. And he's a young politician. He has an entire career ahead of him. Probably that is why he's not scared about being stripped of his position as the budget allocation committee chairperson, because this government is not going to be in power forever. Ruto is not always going to be president. He has less than 3 years to go. If he gets a second term, then that's less than about 7 years or so. But Nyoro is still young. He has a bright future ahead of him. Kenyans can see the kind of leader he is. Kenyans believe in him. He has his track record. So I don't think this scares him that much. It's only a loss for us. As I've said, I don't know much about this Atandi guy and how useful he might be for Kenyans in that capacity. So, hopefully we'll have some more panelists who can tell us what kind of leader he is and how well he'll perform in that capacity.
Okay, what can give is we don't have sure bet, or we still have doubts, like everyone, until we see the person in action, because we normally say we don't judge a book by its cover, or maybe it is the form of change without knowing that it is the form of change. So for me, I can say that it is bad, or you can't neglect the man because I haven't seen the man in action. If you want to make sure that the player that you're placing in the side the pitch will bring the changes into the pitch, you first put the players at the pitch. After Kuana Gamiak, now we can examine that.
We cannot do trial and error.
But in Kenya we do.
No, we cannot do trial and error. You cannot judge a book by its cover, but you can judge a man by his track record. Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes people
I'm just saying that I've not checked his track record.
That's why I'm asking. I'm saying that if his track record was bad, the government, the one who are appointing, they have not the chance of appoint because they are the one to represent us. Remember, this is the member of parliament, and the work of the parliament or the member of parliament is to represent the Mwananchi inside there.
Yeah.
So
Ideally.
if you can't go to represent Mwananchi in the parliament, what do you expect Mwananchi to do? You elect for me somebody that is incompetent to do something that is competent so that Mwananchi can benefit. And then you're saying that I'm there to represent Mwananchi. How are you helping Mwananchi by appointing somebody that you know his record was bad? For example, that like I've realized that you say I've made some 4 or 5 facilities to go down bankrupt. And then you want the same guy, I bring him on board, and then you appoint the person to be chairperson. I might be crazy so that I can do something like that. So that the clean things are supposed to be clear out. So we give it benefit of that because we don't trust anyone right now, because everyone is a suspect until he or she justify that I'm not a suspect. That's why our police works. Everyone is guilty until justify that you are not guilty. So this is how things are. Let us give it a benefit of doubt. Let us align it to it. Let us show him that we have given him the opportunity. Let us see if he will give back to the table. He will give back to the table what he will bring on the desk. Because we can't judge him, disclaim him, make him feel like, okay, these people doesn't trust me. We can even not trust him, but we can give the benefit of doubt. It's not bad from doubting. Even if he, right now, Douglas, even if you employ me, you will see me like you will not just trust me 100%. Until the time we continue to stay with you, we're gonna be with you, we're gonna learn with you together, so that we're gonna know, oh, this Shadizo is kind of such a person. Like this is the trust he has, and this is the limit that he reaches. When you stretch him more than this, he explodes. Because everything has a limitation. You know that, okay, every day we normally say that it can take a year, a month to get a trust from somebody, to build up the love, but it takes a minute to crash it. It takes a minute to crash the trust. So let us give the benefit of that. Yes, I hope the trust can come on the way.
Trust in who?
The man that we are appointing, the people that we have been appointing with the reshuffles, because we are thinking not only that seat, generally, because there are a lot of changes. Like Selassie has been taken to the part of food, whereby he was complaining that I'm being taken to part of food, so I'm gonna eat until I feel like I'm satisfied. So those are the changes that I normally want to see. Like, okay, if I was playing, for example, like the politics, I normally analyze it in the form of football, because I've been a player for some times. When you are a team captain and you see that the strategy that we're using that is not working, you normally do the reshuffle. You tell like so and so go back to the upper wing, so and so go back to the lower wing. Let us try to push it like that. We see if you can get the changes. So if we do the changes, but we don't see the exact changes that we are processing to, also you create another strategy. But if the changes that you are making, you don't make it by doubts. You're making sure the changes that are making the changes that at least they will bring a new vibe to the game, a new change to the game.
So do we make those reshuffles for reshuffles sake, or do we make reshuffles because someone is not really performing in a particular capacity? Because Ndindi Nyoro is one of the best brains in parliament right now, I could say. And I don't know. This is not about doing reshuffles because of competency. Maybe you have some people in certain capacities that are not competent enough. That's okay, but in this case, it's not about competency or competencies or Kenyans or the needs of Kenyans. It's about there are new political formations, and some people needs to be given positions. Some people needs to be accommodated into the new formations. You're going to see this all across the government. You're going to see some CSs, PSs losing their dockets, new ones coming in because ODM has to get space.
Okay, okay, this is okay. Most you have seen it like it's me paraphrasing like ODM. Okay, the thing is, yes, when you check out the clarity of the end of the day, most of the people are being appointed there from the ODM party.
Yeah, it's
yeah. Okay, we are seeing it divide, but the thing is, let us not do the changes because we are doing it to impress somebody, or we are doing it to make you just to see that we did the changes. But let us make the changes because of the need of Mwananchi. Why at the first point, why are we there? Why at the first point are we there? We are there because of Mwananchi. If I'm there because of Mwananchi, why should I not bring the changes dividing to Mwananchi? Not bringing the changes because I want to benefit myself. I want to encourage the trust between me and with my colleague party. So, okay, the changes are not bad by doing them, but let us make the change because of the benefit to Mwananchi.
Okay, you know, I see where you're coming from, and you know, it's an idealistic point of view, but I'm just trying to be realistic with the politics of the day and the players of the day. So these are just you know, some of you have you know, some of our viewers and probably probably even you, I don't know, have you know, have appraised the MOU. So these are just its effects, and I just hope that it has positive effects on the people. But when I see like you know, leaders who've been performing, leaders who have been termed as performers losing their positions because of this MOU effect, I think we're going to begin calling it the MOU effect from now on. You know, I kind of doubt if it's really going to you know, to achieve those. They said it's 10 points agenda. Yeah, if it's really going to achieve those 10 points agenda. Yeah, because if it's really about that, then we should. Okay, like I've said, I don't know track record. Yeah, this Atandi guy, I don't know his politics that much. So I'm just hoping that he's as good or better than the previous budget committee chairperson, because I think that's one of the most important committees in parliament. That is where our budget comes from.
I hope everything will be good. Let me hope so, because
basically that's the guy who decides
the budget. The finance bill. Hata idenitambua mimi nisipate mshahara. So yes. Msiniwe mshahara tafadhali. I'm a true patriotic Kenya. I love Kenya indeed, and that's why I can stay all this night so that I can make sure that our Kenya lives to a better place. Okay. As we're moving on swiftly live, I just want to remind you of something, and I like the people on the comment section. The vibing on the comment section indeed is vibing. Please invite somebody to watch with. Don't just watch alone. The number of people who are watching is still low. Let us watch this, and yeah, let us just go for a short commercial break. But we are here. We'll just right back here.
Welcome to Sound Candid Talk News Special Edition. Be sure to subscribe, share the video widely, and give it a thumbs up. God bless you. This is the story of Frank Okoth, a 19-year-old Kenyan whose life is nothing short of a miracle and an inspiration. A young man who, against all odds, survived 6 gunshots during the tragic June 26, 2024, Gen Z protests in Nairobi. Frank is an orphan, raised by his aging maternal grandmother after losing his mother at the tender age of 8. He never knew his father, a result of a teenage pregnancy, and life has dealt him blow after blow. Frank and his grandmother have faced unspeakable challenges, including surviving 2 devastating slum fires that claimed everything they owned. his late mother's documents, birth certificates, and school papers, leaving them with nothing to rebuild their lives.
Na sina hata shilingi moja. Niko na kitabu saa hii na nimeshaanga shilingi 100 ngapi. Kitabu iko hapa natembea naye.
Forced to drop out of school in Form 2 due to a lack of fees, Frank started doing manual jobs to provide for his grandmother. But on June 26, 2024, everything changed. During the protests, Frank joined other Kenyan youth to exercise their democratic rights, peacefully demonstrating against unemployment, rising living costs, and rampant corruption. But the unthinkable happened. Police opened fire on unarmed demonstrators, killing over 20, injuring many, and leaving others unaccounted for. Frank was among the victims, hit by 6 bullets, yet by God's grace, he survived. After a series of life-saving surgeries, Frank can now walk again. But the bullets left a lasting impact. He can no longer perform heavy-duty jobs to support his grandmother. In their iron sheet home, deep in the slum, is inaccessible by vehicles. In case of a medical emergency, help is far out of reach. To make matters worse, the slum is plagued by insecurity, with daily cases of muggings and robberies. Despite all these challenges, Frank dreams of finishing his education, learning a trade, and building a better life for his grandmother, the woman who has stood by him through every storm. This is where we need your help. In the short term, we aim to move Frank and his grandmother to a safer home where they can access medical care and live without constant fear. Long term, we want to support Frank in completing his education, learning a profitable skill, and starting a small business. I've faced so much, but I'm still standing. I want to work hard, take care of my grandmother, and make her proud. I just need a chance. You can be the change in Frank's life. Every contribution, big or small, will go a long way in helping this brave young man and his grandmother rebuild their lives. Let's come together and help Frank fulfill his God-given destiny. God bless you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share this video widely, and stay tuned for more inspiring stories on Sound Candid Talk. Send your donations to Sound Candid Talk, support Frank Okoth account. The link is in the description below. Together, we can make a difference.
Thank you and welcome back. We are from just a short commercial break, and I want to urge you, please share the video up and please invite somebody to watch with. Don't just watch alone, because we have been falling inside the studio. And what I want to ask you, please don't wait until the last minute so that you can want to pull up one thing that we are closing you outside. We want you as early as possible so that we can bring alignment to our nation, because our motto goes making sense to our politics. So we are here to make sense on our politics. And I see Bernard is joining up inside the studio. I'll bring Bernard to say hi to us as we're rolling up for this. That is the second page segment.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great time. Thank you for choosing to be part of the conversation today. It's important that we converse around what is going on in order for us to equip ourselves for the fears that we may be holding, and of course, arm ourselves for the future that we are fighting to achieve. Many things are happening so fast, and so everyone must begin to think differently, because we can't be able to rise beyond our thinking level, and our thinking level can never improve beyond our capacity to learn new things and improve on the information available to us. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Welcome, Bernard, for as you're linking up. You are still speaking about the story of the appointed the reshuffle from the secretary or from the departments inside the member of parliament, and you have seen other being reshuffled from one point to another, and we were asking, will it bring an impact or will it bring a change to our government, or it's just reshuffle because we are shuffling to favor the ODM party?
It is said that change is as good as rest. So, but not every change means change. We can have change for the worse or change for the better. And so, whichever way you look at it, there are many things that are at stake. One of the things that are challenging for this administration is their sense of their lack of sense of responsibility. I'm saying that in the aspect whereby we are dealing with an administration that doesn't care what becomes of whatever decisions they have made. According to them, they can always get away with whatever mistake they make in their decision. Just to give us some hind link towards what I'm saying is the appointments of the first cabinet was 100% the input of one William Ruto, the president. And it wasn't long until he himself came on television and said his team is incompetent. He knows more than most of his cabinet about their dockets. And so when we look at that entire scenario, we see that until we have better reasons why we need who in what docket, we can't have competent people in the right docket. So we'll continue having round pegs in squared holes and squared pegs in round holes until the time when we will realize that the only way for us to forge ahead, we must accept responsibility. And so change is as good as rest. I am not against the change, but I would have loved better considerations and better reasoning to be put into who is put where. I overheard Douglas talking about Nditi Nyoro has whatever good brains and good knowledge of finances. I can't dispute that. But now, what happened with the finance bill or the last time whatever bill that was rejected? In fact, two of them, 2023 and 2024. If those are the best brains, is it that they were not allowed to use the best of their reasoning into packaging that finance bill, or they are the best brains, but they still failed to meet the expectations of Kenyans?
Okay, I expected that to come up. But anyway, I was just telling Shadiza that, the new chairperson, the budget allocation chairperson, is Alego Songa MP. Maybe if you could just take us into the world of his leadership, see what kind of leader he is. Is he capable in that capacity? Just for comparison's sake.
Oh, so you want me to give you that information? I wouldn't. Okay, I can't claim to have much on him. I don't know him much. Just he's a and sit and that is member of wherever, Aleko Songa. But what I'm saying is, I don't know why he's placed there in the first place, and if that is being placed there for political reasons, then it proves that the William Ruto administration doesn't care what becomes of Kenyans and who is placed in a position to take care of Kenyan affairs. And that is one of the contributions towards they are spiraling down every time they come up with things that they want to deploy in the pretext that they want to show Kenyans that they are really working. Like I've said, if what you're doing is really working, you don't have to tell people you're working. And so they need to explain everything to Kenyans and go and do a rally to say, we have done this because of this and because of this and because of that. To me, it doesn't sit well. It doesn't sit well because there is a particular age bracket when you get to, there are some things that should just leave you alone. And one of it is trying to deceive the public or trying to pretend that you are working when you're not working, pretend that you're caring when you are not caring, and things like that. So what we are being treated to is an a government without governance and operation systems that are never given a particular target in order for them to have that outcome. So for Atandi and the team, we don't know what they can do. I don't have their history, and whatever informed they are being placed there, we can only say time will tell.
Okay, so I guess time will tell, like you said.
Yeah, like the way I said, just time will tell us. Let us put the ball inside the field. What a period doing the ball will confirm to us whether this person ni mchezaji ama sio mchezaji.
Okay, so but I have another question for Bernard, if I
Go.
can. Okay, so Bernard, I just asking. Okay, we are seeing, several changes happening in Parliament, and we're going to see more of them happening in the executive. People losing their positions, and we're going to see people gaining, people losing. So, okay, for the sake of our viewers, don't you think that we should now begin to call this the MOU effect and not just blame the government alone and blame the formation?
I will answer that with a story. Those days back when the matatu used to fill up everybody to the brim, there was one driver on it was Jogo Road, and the driver did not look in the mirror. There was a particular woman who was alighting, and there was a traffic officer right on the stage. And so when the Makanga hit on the side of the road and said, "Twende," the driver took off, and this mama who was alighting from the vehicle akaanguka. And so the traffic officer stopped the driver, asked him why is he doing that? Why is he risking the life of this woman? And the response was, Makanga linambia twende. So the traffic officer was so bad that he slapped the driver. Is it the Makanga that has driving license here or you? No, that's exactly what I want to use as a ground. When you are charged with the responsibility of running the affairs of any organization, leave alone the country, any organization, whatever decisions that are taken, whether your wife is the one that advised you, whether it's your fiance or your girlfriend, those decisions are taken. You are the one that will have to answer for them. You cannot reach a place and say, it is my girlfriend that told me that I should appoint so and so. You are appointing so and so that he goes to serve your girlfriend or goes to do what is for the interest of the country. And so when I say the government, I simply means the current government. Whatever happens to this country, they must be held responsible if we want to get what is just. I can see a pattern, especially in the mainstream media, where there is a deliberate effort to deflect the responsibility from William Ruto and place it either on Raila Odinga or place it on Gachagua or place it on another person. Now, that is the surest way for Kenyans to lose the battle that they are fighting. If you're going to be sure of getting William Ruto to answer for the decisions that have been made and have impacted Kenyans negatively, then we must always demand the buck stops with him and he must answer for it. So this MOU effect or agreement effect or handshake effect, the decision still remains with the driver, not with the makanga.
Okay.
Okay, Bernard, thank you for that. Let me listen to Lala. How are you?
Oh, I'm well. Good to see all of you just joining you guys. I was not listening. Good to hear you, Bernard, Chadizo, and Douglas, and wengine ambao mko huko nyuma. I think I'm still green. I'd like to listen a little bit, but what I heard Bernard commented on is the one who was chosen supposedly, but because the Supreme Court ratified it, is Ruto. Ruto is the center, is the fulcrum, is the one to answer the questions. And the people who gave him that power is the Wananchi. Wananchi have not been able to get rid of him, so I believe its fact is that Wananchi still believe to some extent that he is their man. So he is the one at the center. So in other words, anyone who wants to get him out of that seat will be going against whichever the constitution which is being used, okay? Which in my own mind has been another one, but at the center of it has to be Ruto. In other words, one of my concern is to see Baba moving with him. But as I stated, that wars and Baba, if we know him very well, he's done wars, he's battled, and his battles have been both out and in. And in fact, the most devastating blows that has come to us is when he was on the inside, went in and dismantled Kanu. I went to Kibaki, even though they had a peace deal and there was something that was tangible that we could see came out of it. Uhuru, there was a handshake, but it was not where he had a lot to do with what was happening. And I think the roadmap was not very clear where we had to go. So what people are asking Baba to do is almost impossible. I think it's 007. He's supposed to do these wonderful things. You know, if he's can't deliver us, then you hear people complaining, yet he's not elected. So I think Ruto is really at the center where blame should go. Will Baba take some blame? To an extent, but that is to anyone. If you watch movies, whether it is Seagal or one of those Rambo, whatever it is. You see someone who is on the inside, they'll pay with something, but at the end of the day, they will have given us what we're looking for. People complain about Baba, but nobody says when you go, let devolution go. Let all this, openness that we have here go. Nobody talks about that. Or the stick highways, let it go. All these wonderful things he did, which let me say that basically Kibaki and Baba were joined in terms of what was to be done, to be accomplished. And I think there was no, it's as if one needed each other for them to have achieved the kinds of project that were achieved by that in that particular era. But of course, Kibaki takes the upper, hand because he was the CEO. Okay, but all of us know very well what Baba did when it comes to the fracture, the roads, and all that. So let's not be too pessimistic. Let us ask hard questions. Let us not just accept them because they are on our side. Let us actually put them to task, because actually the government is just, as I stated, I think it was yesterday, Douglas, that we don't have an opposition party in Kenya. There's no opposition and there's no government. It's actually there's just minority and majority. So it basically is one, just like the U.S. You look at there's no opposition, there's no, the other way around. So I think there are times when we put someone in a place where they don't belong, and that is a danger, especially our younger people. I think Gen Z, to me, is a blessing that this country has, a great blessing for good, and can also be potentially for bad. Because we know the power of internet, we know what it can do. Right now, even in terms of war danger, you're not worried about many people. We know where they are, but you're worried about one person because of the danger they can do. So it is critical for us to understand the power that we have, even for young people, and use it very, very wisely. Seek awareness, seek understanding from those who have the experience, but at the same time, don't sell your soul to the old prophet. There's the old prophet that will teach you bad ways and bad manners, and that has been happening. If you think about it, people like Ruto, and there's a team that were young people, people like Sonko, those were younger group, because there was the Orengo and the Railas and others, those were older ones. So people were looking for young people. We don't want the Kibakis, we want young people. And youth is not a ticket to leadership. I think within the youth, they are leaders. Within the old people, they are leaders. Leaders are everywhere. Women, they are leaders. Minority, they are leaders. They are everywhere in Kenya. Okay, and some of them may not be as educated as others. Others are very educated. So let us be wise and use that wisdom to be able to gather, the right people, right ideas, and not to be in this sensationalism, whatever you want to call it. My teeth are still giving me a hard time, uh, where people hear something just and I see a number of them online, So it's as if you are hearing something that is big, happening, and everybody's in that direction to realize those just simply a hot air, So I think Martha Koome has a lot of followers around with hot air in the gospel. So my sense is that let us watch what people are doing. I heard you talk about the new people who have assumed certain offices. Yes, there is still some things to be taken care of. Health of people, schools are still, people got to go to school. People got to get paid. We still got to pay taxes. Our money got to be taken care of. Okay, so whoever's taking care of that money, we have to have a say in it. You can't just say, don't take it. So whoever's taken over those seats, let us put some little, gas on, make sure they do the right thing. Because at the end of the day, it is your money, it is our government, it's our people, it's our nation, it is us. Our job is to make sure it's not wasted. Our country is not taken to the slaughterhouse, as in other countries. Of course, we are on that direction if we don't act. And these young people can help us, that their eyes be open, but let us not be too arrogant. Let us not be too know-it-all. Because I hear people come in here, they have all the answers. They know it all. Just leave us. We can do it and take it. And I don't want to mention his name because he's not here, but maybe we could talk when they get back here. But so I think GMC should be able to come and straighten some of the members who are not, towing the line of power. I think you guys have the power, and using it wisely, I think, is key. And let us deliver the nation to the place where we ought to be. So that's what I wanted to say for a beginning. I want to listen and hear what you guys have to say. Asanteni.
Okay. Okay. So before you even turn off your mic, I just wanted to pose a question. And just going to need Bernard's input on this one too. But I'll start with you. Okay. So ideally, since I think we've told our viewers enough number of times that the opposition doesn't exist under the current political dispensation as the 2010 constitution. So ideally, parliament is the one that is supposed to protect the people. Yeah.
Yes.
So just wondering, what should be the balance of reason in parliament so that the people's needs, or rather needs, for lack of a better word, are protected. Because recently we've seen the majority and minority come together to speak against independent institutions, to fight them rather. Particularly the Office of the Auditor General and the Control of Budget, and the judiciary has also been under attack. So what should be the balance of reason in Parliament so that the people's needs are protected by the people they sent to represent them? And yeah.
Douglas, that is a very good question. But let me just present a problem we have in Kenya. In Kenya, we really don't have strong political parties. Those ideologies we talked about and beliefs that people have strongly in their party, why they follow their party. We have parties that are based on ethnicities, many of them, based on regions. But I think it's the only ODM, because of perhaps it's older, and the history of social democratic principles have been part of the founder himself, okay, and the group of those founders. So we can see some form of a structure there. People can be part of it, but then opposite of it, there's nothing. So it's almost like there are no ideological, differences between all these people. So that makes it a little bit challenging to disagree on some things. But this is where the conscience of each person comes in. Number one, the government is divided in three parts. There is the judiciary, then we have the executive, and parliament, which is really the legislative branch. You see, these are co-equal powers. It's almost like you're telling a married three wives, or co-equal. There's not number two, number three. They are all co-equal. Okay. There's nothing like the president is higher than all of them. No, it's simply because the president is one person who sits above there, but the others are a group. They are a group. In other words, the 9 justices come at they are on the same level, and then you have the president, who is one person, and then you have the parliament as a whole. Okay, and so, but they are all equal. Those are equal branches. That's what the law says. So there's nobody higher than the other. So when a president is acting above the rest, that's where the problem comes in, because all powers are given to him. Listen to this. In the US, for a long time, the US did not pay the UN, portion, okay? The UN, their fair share, what they were supposed to give. I think it was, maybe 10 years ago. It was because of one senator, because he said no. They could not release money. The president may have wanted to do it, but he could not do it. In other words, his hands are tied. And even right now, if the Congress do not authorize the budget, the country, you hear of, the whole nation is going through some form of the shutdown of government. And there are times when they start shutting down the government because the parliament says no, the Congress says no. In other words, the three are supposed to check each other. Okay, so there's no one has monopoly over the other. But what we have here is where the executive has everything. All the powers go through that direction, where even the court, Comey and the rest, are listening to that one man who is supposed to be ahead of them. And that was even demonstrated when Comey had to travel to the state house. Okay, in the U.S., the only time you see all those people come together is a joint session of Congress. That's when everybody comes in to listen to that. Otherwise, they are all branches that are co-equal. And so there's a check and balance inbuilt in that system. Whether the ideological side is not working, at the end of the day, people believe that if I am a senator, then I'm part of that Congress, and we can check on the president. If they are, if you are in the judiciary, Supreme Court, that's why people fight, for those seats, because they have so much power. They can declare, the president, invalid, cannot continue on, and the president will step down. And so that's the way I think it was supposed to be, even for Kenyan constitution. But do we do that? No, because the executive has all the power. That's why we're having all these issues. And I'm sorry, but to say, but Africa has suffered because of that. That's why we are suffering. That's why people are dying. Those pictures I saw people going to Europe to escape Africa is simply because we are not adhering to the law, the rule of law. We talk about it, but they know very well that they're not following any of that. And I even listened to, I think, Yunet Mohammed talking about some, I think, Dindi Nyoro, his constituency had all these wonderful things, these goodies. And so the question is, how could money escape to one constituency and not others? And nobody seemed to know where the money, how it was located. And they are forensic people that can be able to know how the money is going. So it's mind-boggling. How are those funds allocated? I'm told even the all schools are the kind of building they have there. It's like the money is flowing in certain constituents. Where's the money coming from? So there's so much, at stake here that require an overhaul. Really, that's what it needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Lala. I think you've addressed it comprehensively, but let's just hear Bernard's perspective too. He's already taken over.
Okay, the question is a good one, and I would say that the kind of parliament we have is unconstitutional. Unconstitutional in the sense that we have a setting that there is the majority and the minority according to the constitution, but we still have got the hangover of the old constitution, where it was assumed that the majority means government or the executive, and the minority means opposition. That is not what that's not what the constitution envisions and explicitly places forth. What is needed in parliament is that both the minority and the majority have a responsibility to oversight the executive. So the only representative of the executive in parliament should be the leader of what's called whatever business. It used to be called what, government business committee or something like that. It was once led by Kalonzo and in the old constitution. Now, now Ichungwa is the leader of the majority, and he's the one to bring the motions that the executive wish to pass across to the parliament. So him is to speak for the executive because he's working and pushing the agenda of the executive. But that executive should not be necessarily be assumed to be a party position. It is the executive seeking the permission of the parliament to enact a particular law or pass a particular budget. And the entire parliament need to make an independent decision on whether they support what the executive has said or reject. So what we have is an interference with the free operation of the new constitution by converting it into our old constitution to work to sustain and retain the old ways of doing things. And so what is going on, I believe it is man-made, and it's deliberately made so to frustrate the power of this new constitution, because it will render the president to seek permission almost on everything. And the presidents don't like that. They don't like that. They would want to have absolute power. They believe that being the number one in the country means whatever you say becomes law, whatever you want is what you get, and all that. So as it is right now, the way we are playing our politics is wrong, and the way the parliament is operating is unconstitutional, and we should not even allow that to take place. The attack on other independent institutions is back on our history. The Mwalimu Nyerere maxim that Kenya is a land of man eat man society. Our politics is that politics of elimination. Our politics of painting others in bad light so that they can be gotten out of the way. And so some of the things that are playing are neither here or there. And as young leaders, I think we must be ready to walk away from the old bad approach of politics where we target a particular institution simply because it has not agreed with us or it will interfere with what we enjoy. Like, for example, when the judiciary rules against the CDF, you will see the entire house coming together and dismissing the judiciary and wanting the judiciary to be overhauled simply because it is removing the meat from their plate. And so it's a bad day in the country where we have a constitution. It has given expressly who is responsible for what, but some forces somewhere sit together and say, no, we must not allow this. If we allow this, it will cause us to fail to get things done. Like some of the things that we are talking of, people withdrawing money from the consolidated account without seeking permission from Parliament, that there is a clause that allows that certain money can be removed, and that certain money is not even placed on any maximum capacity. You say, like, for example, in an organization, you can do petty cash, okay? But that petty cash is governed by law. Say you do petty cash, but petty cash should not be more than what? 100,000. But this one that somebody can walk in the consolidated account and come out with 1.3 trillion, it simply means we are flawed as a society. We are flawed as a society whereby we create room for evil to take place and we allow what we should not allow. And so it is sad that the people that we send in Parliament to enact and legislate laws that will safeguard and enhance the power of the constitutions are the ones violating the same constitution, modulating it and making it be of non-effect. And so we are even caught up into wasting time in responding to political statements when there is dire violation of the constitution, and we seem to be drawn away from that by now beginning to get carried away with the political statements that are trivial, in my opinion, when it comes to how we should respond as Kenyans when our own constitution is being turned into a piece of paper that has no wherever power to bite anywhere. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, yes. That, I think that that clears that thorny issue. Shadiza.
Okay, we're moving on swiftly. I really appreciate those concerned and appreciate for those people who are following up. Team comment section, indeed, you are doing a good job. I want you also keep up the game, continue sharing the live and continue moving on swiftly. We are just going for a brief commercial and we'll be right back after the commercial.
Tunaingia vijijini, mijini na hata jijini kukuletea taarifa mchana kutwa. Usiku tunaketi kitako, tunadadavua tukichanganua taarifa na makala muhimu yanayokuhusu wewe na familia yako. Ungana na Bernard Ngozi kwenye Open Forum Political Show kuanzia saa 4 usiku hadi dakika zake kila siku ya wiki kwenye
Welcome back as we are rolling up. I want to take the gear to another level, whereby we'll be checking out also what has happened. Ruto pledges to Nini. We have brought up clearly this that issue umesema pale ya kwamba ya Ruto, the head is the king and is the deal here is the G here. So let us check out the premises, and let us check out what was being out so that we can have the conversation towards that direction.
Shame those 3 billion Kenya shillings And President William Ruto now says he will shame those who doubt his ability to deliver on his promises, saying that all the pledges he had made will be met. As Emmanuel Toh tells us in the following report, the head of state made pledges today that amount to more than 3 billion Kenya shillings in Nairobi as he traversed 3 constituencies.
Hoye! Westlands hoye!
President William Ruto picked up from where he left on Tuesday. He continued to issue more promises to the more than 4 million residents of Nairobi County as his trip of the capital entered day 3. The president, who toured Dagoretti North, Dagoretti South and Westlands constituencies respectively, in goods worth over 3 billion shillings, including millions of shillings for the completion of the Kangemi Bridge.
Nimetafuta pesa shilingi milioni 400 kukamilisha hiyo daraja ya hapo Kangemi, na nimemwambia contractor miezi miwili hii daraja iwe imekamilika.
The president pledging 350 million shillings more for the construction of the Ruto market, the Dagoretti South constituency, and a colossal amount for the Kangemi market and Kawangware market, cumulatively totaling to about 1 billion shillings.
Na nimekuja kuwatangazia soko ya milioni 500 tunajenga hapa Kangemi. Ndio wafanyabiashara wa hapa waendelee wafanye mambo yao na Kenya isonge mbele.
The president, who has made a slew of promises on classrooms and buses to schools, saying the government had set aside 1 billion shillings to enhance learning facilities.
Nimetoa pesa ya serikali shilingi bilioni 1 kwa kaunti ya Nairobi. Wajenge madarasa 500 ingine mpya ya kusaidia hawa watoto wetu wasome darasani.
The head of state promising shame to the naysayers.
Na hiyo soko mtaangalia ikijengwa na macho yenu. Hii daraja mtaona ikijengwa na macho yenu. Na tutawaaibisha wale ambao hawaamini. Tutawaweka aibu kwa sababu tutajenga na itafanyika.
This comes as the president continued to woo support from the ODM leader Raila Odinga's strongholds in Nairobi, rallying residents of the 3 constituencies to stand with him.
Tumekubaliana na Prime Minister Raila Odinga ya kwamba tuondoe siasa ya chuki, tuondoe siasa ya ukabila, tuondoe siasa ya ubaguzi, tuunganishe Wakenya wote.
Kusiwe na ubaguzi wa aina yoyote. Tusiwe na ubaguzi wa ukabila, ubaguzi wa dini.
Tusikubali kuwekwa kwa mtego ya siasa ya ukabila. Sisi Nairobi tunajua kabila 2 peke yake, tajiri na maskini.
This comes as President Ruto additionally promised to deliver monies to accounts of students in higher education by the end of this week. President William Ruto is expected to continue with his tour of Nairobi County, with tours expected in Lang'ata, Kibra, and the vast Nairobi County, with more promises expected as the head of state wraps up his campaign trail here in the capital. Emmanuel Toh, Citizen TV.
That's how things are on the ground, and we can't attest to it, or we can't say that it's true or false. But nyimbo mambo imechemuka. Let me listen to Bernard.
Did you want to say something? Shadizo.
Let's begin with Bernard, and then we come to you.
Okay, what about Bernard?
No, I just want to confirm that what the president is doing there, those allocations and those distributions are also unconstitutional. And that is what one of the things that is really frustrating, that as a country, we had moved away from the executive being in charge of the basket and distributing that basket according to the political affiliations and political preferences. We need the new constitution was meant to allow institutions to do their work and not necessarily become now the president's responsibility to go around dishing out the money. As a public servant, he's not supposed to be doing that. It's unconstitutional and unlawful. but it is just being done because of one, impunity, then secondly, it is a seduction program where they are wanting to lure the masses, and from his words you can tell what is driving him. What is driving him is to make the people believe. Si tutaenda kuaibisha wale ambao hawakuamini, mtaona na macho yenu. And so his program is tumia pesa, distribute the money, let the people be mesmerized by the so-called contributions and so-called allocations. And then in the process, they will forget your sins and, of course, vote for you again to continue with the same way. What William Ruto is trying to establish is very dangerous for the 2010 constitution. Very dangerous that we have so fast in these 2 years gone back to the Moi days, even without realizing it. And it is going to be even illegal for the governors and for other people to lead any form of maendeleo. Kama unataka maendeleo, itakuwa ni rais peke yake ndo anaweza kuleta nini? Maendeleo. And so everything is being pulled back and going in that direction, we're going even to end up scrubbing off devolution. We are killing devolution, and there is not even competition because the devolution is denied the money. The governors are denied the money, but the president has all the money. And so building of markets, cattle dips, and those wherever inwards roads, those joint roads, it's the responsibility of the county government. But see how he has now usurped that authority. He has usurped that responsibility, and is now the alpha and the omega of any project that will take place. He's building the bridge, he's launching the water, he's launching the polytechnic, he's launching the classroom. He wants to be the Moi of today, and he's determined whether he is following the law is not important, whether he's meeting constitutional threshold is not important. And if we let William Ruto get away with this, we will forget the 2010 constitution in the quick next 2 years or so. That thing will become worse than the colonial constitution. Only by one person who is determined to usurp all the authorities from everywhere so that it becomes his one and only mouth and the one and only hand that makes anything happen in the country called Kenya. So it's about time we began to stand up and say, no, we need our constitution working, we need institutions working, and public officers are not supposed to distribute money around. It is illegal, it is unconstitutional, it is unethical, it's immoral. I rest my case.
Thank you. Thank you, Bernard. I think I'm getting and I see somebody's calling, somebody's agreeing with you on the comment section, saying, yeah, Bernard, it is true. Let me listen to Lala. Lala, come up now.
I can't even say more. I think Bernard has actually summarized it completely, that watching the president do what he's doing now is very embarrassing. This is not what Kenya had envisioned in a president at this time. I think even Moi had his time, but could not do it every day like this guy's doing it every single day. This is wrong. Clearly, as Ben has stated, is illegal. First of all, the reason why you have a cabinet, the first responsibility of a cabinet secretary is PR. Is they are the ones to talk to the people, they are communicators of the collective decision that cabinet, parliament, the cabinet executive, has. In other words, it is their role to go out and do exactly what this man is doing, but actually they go with the policies based on decisions that are made at the center. But right now, the center is the vehicle where the president is riding. That's where decisions are being made. I don't think they are coming from anywhere else, and if they're coming from anywhere else, they have to go through him. So he's the money bag, is his pocket, everything's around him. Nitawafanyia. It's shameful, really, when you think about it. This is a leader of Kenya, a country that we thought would be leaping into a different, league. We were supposed to be the one, crossing over to another league. But right now we are actually going back. We are retreating with all these challenges we have. Our kids, can't get proper education. There are no jobs for young people. There are hospitals and the needs that healthcare is immense. With the U.S., deciding not to fund U.S. aid and all that, and this man is on top of a vehicle announcing nitafanya hivi. Where's that money coming from? Okay, is he taking those loans from other countries to come and waste on useless, and these projects have not been thought through, some of them, okay, how the money would be refunded, where they are coming from, and if they are taxpayers' money. And the question is, where are the people that are supposed to be administering all these so-called goodies? Parliament is probably has got no clue what's going on, because it seems as if the executive is Ruto and they do things the way he wants. I thought he would be so humble, the fact that he's just joined, the ODM guys have come to him, that he would be so humble to be able to step back. But on the other hand, I think this is a guy, as I said yesterday, who is suffering from the fact that his position, he earned it, he did not earn it, okay, he got it the wrong way, okay. So he is, it's like you are in a position that you don't deserve, so you're trying to make yourself to be the one, ni mimi nimekaa, mimi ndio president. So it's basically going out there to tell Kenyans, this is who I am. And the fact that he brought Baba in, that's also another issue there for him, because he doesn't want to be in the back burner, so he has to come out. But in the process, he's going against all that is necessary, is needed. I mean, for a leader of a country like ours. So I agree with Bernard 100% that what he's doing is totally wrong, and somebody should tell him, and who should do that on our behalf should be there. The Parliament. Parliament is gone quiet, and therefore it's us, all of us, coming out and saying no. When Parliament is silent, we should never be silent, because they are working on our behalf, and when they can't do it on our behalf, we have to tell these people something. Because if we don't, then they assume that they can make those choices that this man is doing, and because nothing is going to happen. And I think he believes that nothing can happen because he has Baba on his side, but Baba is not really, I don't think he's on his side. I really don't think so. So let all of us
Thank you, Lala, for that submission. Indeed, it's great. Let me listen to Douglas first. Douglas.
Well, okay. Okay, so Ruto says he's going to embarrass his naysayers. I think she'll speak to us directly. But the people in Ramu and Kotulo and Western should tell us if the promises he gave them last month, have they started receiving those benefits before we, the people of Nairobi, can listen to the promises that he's giving. But then again, the president shouldn't be going around the country just dishing out handouts in terms of developments. Just like Lala and Bernard are saying, that there are constitutional bodies, there are people mandated to do these things. For instance, markets. Markets are they really supposed to be built by the president? I think that's a devolved function. Yeah. So we're just living in times when I think we have an administration that is confused, like everybody is saying. But like I said yesterday, we had this conversation. I'm just trying to look at everything from a political angle, and I'm just trying to look at what he's doing. And from where I sit, I see a president who's still suffering from the aftermath of the June 25th, and protest and the subsequent protest that dented his image, not just internationally but especially here locally. And I think he's just trying to repair that and moving around the country and sort of telling the people, this is me, and I've come with this and that, and just trying to win that public opinion, that public appeal, to sit well with the people. And I think that public opinion, maybe the other panelists will talk about it in their submissions. I think that public opinion is as equally important in governance. You need to bring good books to the people you're trying to govern, because when there's friction, and we saw it last year, it becomes really difficult. But he's doing it the wrong way. I think the best way to win the support of the people is by giving them services, by giving them development, and not promising them. You've been promising people since you began your campaigns in 2021, 2020. I think he started his campaigns almost 7 years ago. And all along he's just been promising us, I'll do that, I'll do this. He got the power, but still he's giving us promises. I think it's high time you just sit somewhere and work. I think now with Raila in his quota, he's managed to calm the political waters. I think and Prabhat, it's here. She's the one who said yesterday he has Raila in his quota, and he should just sit at State House and work. I think that's exactly what he needs to do. He needs to go back to the office and focus on doing these things that he's promising. We don't need, you told us to utatenga when you become president. You became president. Now we don't need you to tell us you will. We need you to tell us I have, or I am doing this and that. People who should be telling us I will are people who are not in government, not in any office. Kina Kalonzo, those are the people who should be telling us, I will do this and that. But for you who is in office, I think when you come and tell us I will do, you're just a confused leader. But anyway,
okay. Let me listen to other people. Call me. He's the brother to call me. Mugambi. How are you?
Okay.
How are you? How are you? How are you guys? I'm fine.
Yeah, we are good on this side.
Yes. So, yeah, what I think about the current situation. To be very honest, I did not know we would get here. This guy was really persuasive. And I think he's a guy who uses reverse psychology. When he comes to you and tells you this other guy is tribal, because all of a sudden now, first he blamed Uhuru Kenyatta of being a tribal person. Then he blamed Raila Odinga during the last election. Now, he has the audacity to go to a Raila supporter and tell him that now it's still tribalism, but now you guys are my friends. I think this guy will do anything to attain power and to retain it. There's no length he won't go to attain or retain power. Even in his own words, he told us once that there was a time that Uhuru wanted to quit. Then even when you see that video, he was so mad about it and very stern that you can't leave power. He told Kenyans that in a campaign season. These guys are so they think we are so dumb. But the good thing is that Gen Z is coming up. Even someone like Ndindi Nyoro, people are saying here that good material, Kiharu, that is all nonsense. This guy was quiet in June last year. When young boys were being shot in Nairobi and being stolen from their homes, he never said a word. He also do anything to retain power. Then he thinks his people in Kiharu are so dumb that they will ignore that and support him because he painted a class. He built a nursery school, something that is supposed to be done. We need, me, I always say now, I think this Constitution 2010, it also has a problem because I think it is an elitist document. It has very big and big English. But then they tell us the spirit of the document is good. But how is the spirit good when half the population in Kenya do not understand what is written there? Even if it's good, nobody wants to simplify it. They want to tell us that it's going to be amended at one time, but by them. So that's why they were trying the BBI, and now they want to try something similar. Because this is, they imagine that this is now an elitist country. They are oligarchs. They are going to be now playing the way they want. So they come there, they tell you stories of tribalism. But these the same people you're telling that they were in the street because of the cost of bread, the cost of unga. Then we also need to define what a president should look like. There's that chapter 6 that says leadership and integrity. Still, I think that chapter still has very, very, very strong English words that Mkenya wa kawaida haezi elewa. Because it's just recently, only last year, that Gen Z started civic education on the Constitution. Because they were deliberate about it, they went home and told their parents. But these things, we have had this finance bill since 2013. And nobody knew. I did not know anything about it. There was no civic education. Thanks to Gen Z, wale wamesoma mambo ya pesa. They came and told us this is what these guys are saying. But also this Gen Z, I don't think it's happening fast enough because these guys, every day that passes by, they continue spending money. Then tomorrow they will tell us that when the contest comes, someone will come and say that these guys borrowed too much. And we were all here to see it. And we are going to be here to pay it. Our children are at risk of paying for these loans. This odious debt, we do not know where it went. We were told the last government had borrowed 9 trillion, I think. I stand corrected. But now this one has also borrowed some colossal amount of money and we can't see anything. We can't see the president in office. Whether the first when he began, he was always out of the country. Now he's always on a Land Cruiser. So I think we have a serious problem, and this problem we can't wait any longer. Kama ni kusuluhisha, we suluhisha it mapema, or we just leave it and we stay resigned and tuseme yote ni ya Mungu. Tuachilie to these guys to do whatever they want. We pay for their luxury. We continue paying for their luxury. We continue listening to their bullshit, and we just leave. So it's either that or that. Asanteni sana.
Thank you for your contribution, Kome. I appreciate for those who are still joining. Please let us join up. The number of viewers is still low. Let us invite somebody to join up so that we can have this conversation together as we are bringing in Jakindu Bay. Jakindu Bay, how are you?
Mi si jambo bwana, si jambo. Nawasalimia wote. Mimi naweza kusema kwamba problem ambayo tunayo ni msingi ile ilianzisha. Unajua nyumba ukijenga msingi mbaya, hiyo nyumba itakubidi ubomoe yote na utengeneze msingi mpya. Kenya ni lazima tubomoe, tujenge msingi mpya. Na kubomoa Kenya tujenge msingi mpya ni kubadilisha mawazo yetu, kuangalia tuko wapi na tumetoka wapi na tuko wapi na tunataka kwenda wapi. Kwa sababu hii mambo ya ukabila inachangia problem yetu ya Kenya kwa 95% hiyo, kwa sababu mtu atasupport kitu hata kama ni mbaya kwa sababu tribe yake. Hiyo tu, hakuna mtu anaweza kusema hii kitu ni mbaya, kwa sababu ukiangalia Kenya, Mboya aliuawa, mtu mbele ya watu wote. Wakenya hawakusikia uchungu, ni kabila yake tu ndio walisikia uchungu na kuacha hiyo serikali ambayo ilimuua kwa utawala. Huko aliuawa hapa mbele ya watu, aliuawa tukaona. Kabila yake ndio na jamii yake ndio walisikia uchungu. Wakenya wengine wote hawakusikia uchungu kwa sababu si kabila yao. Unajua kama hatusikii uchungu, Muge aliuawa tukiona, Wakenya wakiona. Wachana na hizo za zamani. Juzi tu hapa Msando aliuawa hapa tukiona. Na bado tunachagua the same serikali. Hao watu ambao tunasema sahi Ruto, tunasema sijui Ruto na Uhuru walikuwa wameshtakiwa. Na Wakenya sisi hawa Wakenya sisi ndio ambao tunazungumza, ambao tunalalamika. Tuliwachagua hao. Na hata huyu nani Ruto sasa bado tumechagua ile serikali ile tu. Ile tu, ile ambayo ilikuwa ya wahalifu. Is only Kenya ambapo unakuta saa zingine tukisema eti hawa wabunge sijui wamefanya namna gani. Hawa wabunge ni kama sisi tu, ni sisi. Hawa wabunge ni sisi. Kwa sababu yule jamaa anaitwa Baraza, Dismas Baraza, si aliua mtu, hata akakimbia akapotea siku sijui ngapi. Si aliua mtu, na si bado ni mjumbe, bado ni parliamentarian sahi. Hiyo kesi yake iko wapi? Na mbona watu hawasikii uchungu na kumwambia wewe lazima resign kwa constituency yetu, hatutaki mtu kama hiyo. Mbona watu constituency yao hakuna? Ni hawajali. So hii kitu ni lazima sisi wenyewe wa Kenya tujiangalie roho yetu badala ya kulaumu mtu mwingine. Uangalie wewe unachofanya ni kweli ni haki unachofanya, ama unachokubali ifanyike ni haki unachokubali ifanyike. Mtu anaua mtu na bado tunakubali huyo ni mjumbe. Alafu sisi tunasema hawa wajumbe ni corrupt nini. Hawa wajumbe wakichaguliwa, sisi tunafanyaje? Sisi ambao ni wapigaji kura, huyo mjumbe ukiwa na matanga tunaenda kwa mjumbe. Tukiwa na harambee ya kanisa tunaenda kwa mjumbe. Tukiwa na harambee ya hospitali tunaenda kwa mjumbe. Anatoa pesa wapi ya kutupasia? Pesa yeye anatoa wapi? Mshahara yake anatoa wapi? Pesa ya kupeana kwa hizi harambee zote anatoa wapi? Hatujiulizi hivyo. Hizo vitu tunafanya, na yule mtu ambaye hapeani, tunasema ni mtu mbaya, mgumu. Kwa sababu nishasikia watu wakisema Raila ni mgumu kwa pesa. Kwa nini unataka akupatie pesa na hajaiba? Why? So hizi vitu ni sisi wenyewe wa Kenya tunafanya hizi vitu. Hata saa hii tukilalamika tunasema sijui nini. Gachagua juzi hapa alikuwa anasema kwamba kuna wale watu ambao wanatakiwa waajiriwe au wapewe wachukue sehemu kubwa ya Kenya kwa makazi, kwa sababu wao ndio wako na share. Unajua hasa hii yeye ni popular zaidi, watu amekuwa mzuri kabisa, amekuwa mzuri. Na wakati hizi fujo zilikuwa zikifanyika, alikuweko kwa serikali, alikuwa amenyamaza, na hata ana kesi anataka arudi awe vice president. Na huyo ndio mtu unaona saa hii watu wanamshangilia. So hatujui kuangalia makosa iko wapi, kwa sababu ukichaguliwa kuwa president au uwe makamu wa rais, mliona siku ile Sifuna akijitambua akisema mimi ni Sifuna, mimi ni senator wa Nairobi. Hawezi kusema ni senator ya kabila lake, ni senator wa Nairobi kwa sababu amechaguliwa na watu wa Nairobi. So ukichaguliwa na Wakenya, huwezi tena kusema eti kuna watu wengine sehemu, kwa sababu ukichaguliwa kuwa president, watu wote wanalipa ushuru sawa sehemu yote. So hiyo mambo ya uchaguzi inaisha, inakuwa ni wewe umechaguliwa na watu wote, kwa sababu hakuna mtu ukichaguliwa 95%, hiyo umeiba. Inakuwaga tu ni 49 ama 51 hizo. Sasa hiyo umechaguliwa na watu wengi, Wakenya wote wamekuchagua. Hivyo ndivyo inakuwa. Lakini ukishachaguliwa namna hiyo, huwezi tena kuanza kusema na huyu ndio mtu amekuwa akihubiria hiyo. Hata saa hii ukimsikia vile anazungumza, ukisikia hata ambao watu tunasema viongozi wanazungumza mambo ya kikabila tu. Sasa hiyo kama tunazungumza mambo ya kikabila, tunaenda wapi? Ni vizuri sisi kama Wakenya, mimi nawaambia Wakenya tujiangalie rohoni zetu na tubadilike, ndio tuweze kubadilisha Kenya. Sio kusema tu mtu mnalaumu mtu mmoja au watu wawili. Hapana, ni sisi wote. Mimi nasema sisi wote hatuangalii ni kitu gani tunataka kama Wakenya. Unaangalia tu mimi nataka mimi au kabila langu. Hiyo haitatusaidia. Tumejaribu hizi miaka yote, angalia kule tunaenda. So mimi naomba sisi wote kama Wakenya tushirikiane, tuachane na mambo ya huyu ni kabila langu. Kwa sababu hata Ruto saa hii ambaye tunamlaumu, watu akienda sehemu zingine watu wanampigia makofi. Yeah? Mbona watu hawakatai waseme wewe tumeisha na wewe enda nyumbani? Mbona manake Wakenya wakisema aende nyumbani ataenda. Lakini kitu gani kinatushinda kusema aende nyumbani? Ni kwa sababu Wakenya wanapenda hivyo. Hata mtu yoyote tu ukimwona anazungumza, anasema anazungumza tafu. Huyo Ruto akienda kwake utamuona amechange. Atamuona lugha anazungumza ni tofauti kabisa. So ni vizuri sisi kama Wakenya tujiangalie rohoni mwetu. Kitu gani tunataka? Kwa sababu zile vitu Ruto anawaambia Wakenya, anajua Wakenya wanapenda uongo. Wanapenda kuambiwa utapata kitu fulani, vitu za bure. Na ukisha mwambia namna hiyo, Wakenya wamezoea, kwa sababu hakuna siku Wakenya wamesimama na kusema hatutaki. Hakuna. Hata kama mtu akifanya kitu gani, hakuna. Huyo mtu amefanya hiyo makosa, bado atachaguliwa. Asanteni sana.
Asante Kindube kwa hayo maoni yako. Tunasonga mbele vizuri. Wacha tumsikize Frahbad. Frahbad, hali vipi kwako?
Salama, niko salama. Labda tu nianzie hapo kwa Atandi amechaguliwa kama mwenye chairperson of that committee. And you know, we may want to tie it to the MOU, but it's not tied to the MOU. It is because there was, you know, people like Ndindi Nyoro should not have been heading those committees in the first place because they were a minority in the House, though they insisted that they were the majority, but the courts have set that straight. So in essence, even Kimani Chungwa should not be like, you know, the leader of majority. It's just that now, because of where things are, it might stay like that. But if we had started on the right foot, then the Ndindi Nyoros and the Ishungwas would not have been leading some of those committees. It's just because of this mess we keep saying that, you know, in our country, we just don't respect the rule of law, you know. And when we enacted that 2010 constitution, some of the gains, some of the biggest gains have been downplayed by the political class. And, you know, and we have watched, you know, the way Koome said, sasa saa ingine we just sit back and tunawacha tu iende vile itaenda. Because one of the things, if you remember, SRC came, set up, you know, amounts that they were supposed to get. No, these people rallied. These people rallied so fast. The first things they dealt with was the recall clause, because we wanted that in the 5 years, sio lazima umalize 5 years, midterm, we can come and get signatures and say, you know, we look at the performance and we are not happy and you go home. Those are some of the things that the MPs dealt with very fast. And then their remuneration, and they sort of rendered SRC, you know, toothless. So, and we watched, and, you know, and today you look at that parliament and you want to cry because it's almost always empty. Inakwanga na watu wachache and they're earning salaries, you know, and soon kutakuwa na recess, wana break. At that time when they break, that's when they're supposed to come back to us. These other times they're supposed to be in the house daily. Unaona? Is it Tuesday to Thursday? I don't know, because it's not even Monday to Friday. And then when parliament is in recess, that's when they're supposed to now come to the people, waseme, okay, nimepeleka zile mliniambia, sasa nimerudi, shida zenyu zingine ni gani? Oh, hii bill nimepeleka, imefika hapa, imepitishwa, but that place is empty. They rally when they want, when they're fighting about their remuneration, when they are, you know, fighting down the recall clause, which can put them to accountability. When they're impeaching Gachagua, okay, there are some things that are about that we know, that we also didn't want him, you know, he was not the best. But still, here, But, because of a political interest that is going to serve them, I know which side of my bread is buttered. So now I'm available. These other days, they're not here. So I think those are some of the challenges that even as we go forward, even as we want change, those are the areas we want to look at. Yeah? Is there a number of, hata kazini, kuna vile ukikosa mara nyingi tu, where are these people? Where are they? Where is that place always so empty? You can count the people who are always there. Wengine hawaonekani, wengine hawaongei. And then Kwame also brought the issue of, this constitution. As much as we want to say it's a very good document, we understand it. A lot of the people who voted for it, they understand it. Like integrity, the chapter 6. Everybody understands. Hakuna Mkenya ambaye hajui kama mtu mbaya hafai kupewa kiti, mtu ambaye ako na historia mbaya, mtu ambaye amefanya madhambi, mtu ambaye amekosea hafai kupewa uongozi. Just the way when you are recruiting, you even do a background check. If you're doing due diligence and you're recruiting a staff, unaangalia hata historia yake. You even ask the referees mwenye ameweka hapo. If you don't do it, then you can't fault the person if they come there and later you discover kumbe walikuwa na historia mbaya. But like Jakindu Bey has said, we knew some of these people have histories, they have a past that is questionable, Ruto's role in 2007. But we are saying this person who didn't care about human life, people who have run from being killed into a church, kama mtu anaweza kuhusishwa with that kind of thing, we want that person to take the mantle of this country. And now we are here wondering how he has failed us. He didn't fail us. He was exactly the wolf that we saw, but we wanted to see a sheep. We wanted to see, a dog, and it was a killer dog. And we just, if we want to blame people, let's apportion blame. Let's blame the MPs. Let's blame ourselves. Let's blame, everyone. Because now you look at what has happened in the last 3 days and the amount that is being promised, and you're like, okay, now you're saying you're going to do it, but you've not done it in the last 2 years. Now, I don't know what miracle is going to happen so that you begin to do it. And whose money is this that you're using? So I believe there was a big shakeup last year, and that momentum sort of went down. We want to still apportion blame, but you see, nothing stops us from keeping the momentum. Nothing stops us unless we stop ourselves and say, oh, unajua huyu ndiye amefanya tukatulia, huyu ndiye amefanya but haja kufanya ukatulia. You have chosen kutulia. If you want to do it, you can do it. So I think sometimes wacha kuharibike. Sometimes I think things are allowed to get so bad that it's a wake-up call for everyone. It gets so bad that the only thing we can do is to say we can't sit back any longer. Everyone is now awake and is like, no way. He can't be promising this. He can't be going around and doing this. Where are the CSs? Where are the people he put into office? He didn't put the right people. He didn't want to put the right people because he wanted to micromanage and he wanted to do everything himself. Ruto is not ready that there's a CS there that is performing, that there's CBC and we are struggling and there's a Magoha there who's pushing and things are working. That's not Ruto. Ruto wanted power for power's sake, and we know that absolute power corrupts absolutely. He is corrupt, he's drunk with power, he is so keen on sustaining that power, like Koome has said. Unajua, inafika mtule, like I have gotten it, I got it amidst controversy because I was like, it's do or die, I have to get it. And now that I have got it, gotten it, I have to retain it at all costs. It doesn't matter how much I lie. It doesn't matter how much Kenyans can see through the facade. I don't care. So long as I get to 2027 and maybe I still get to presidency and I finish my 10 years and he just doesn't care. So as Kenyans, if imekuwa that it is that low, maybe the only way now is up. I think that is my initial submission.
Thank you for that submission. Did is great. As we are moving on swiftly, now we are taking up to another level where we want to come up with the last segment. But before we roll up for the segments, for the last segment, I want to remind you of something a little bit that we can cooperate together so that we can bring everything together. We can put up everything together. So we make our partnership support Sound Candid Talk so that it can be movable to movable. And what I ask you is just let us use the details on screen to support it. Doesn't matter what you have, anything you have, you can do it. For those who are using the M-Pesa number, you can use that +254 718 454 585. The name will be Bernard Makoha. Or for those who are using till number, it is 516278. And it will be great that support Sound can talk so that we can move on together. We can keep on going. We can keep on bringing this and we can keep on putting sense into our politics so that we will not be able to drag behind, and it will be good and God will bless you. Let us take this to another level and also see other people are still joining up as we are running up to the last part of the show because the time is going so fast. I want to check out this and then we come to see what's your opinion about it as we are coming almost to closer, but we still have some little time that we can have the conversation. But let us check this out first, clear.
Party of Kenya, founded by the late Mwai Kibaki, has moved to sever its ties with the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. The party has, in writing and in keeping with the terms of the coalition agreement, given 30 days notice for its exit. The Registrar of Political Parties under has confirmed receiving a copy of the notification from the party, which will make the DP the first party to exit the coalition since its inception in 2022.
In the ever-shifting Kenyan political landscape, the Democratic Party of Kenya becomes the first to officially delink itself from the ruling Kenya Kwanza Alliance coalition. The party, founded by Kenya's third president, Mwai Kibaki, in 1991, and which in the run-up to the last general election fronted Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi as its presidential candidate, stated in a letter dated 7th of March that its continued stay within the Kenya Kwanza fold was no longer tenable. The letter, signed just a day before the United Democratic Alliance entered into a memorandum of understanding with the Orange Democratic Movement. The notification, received by the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties on Wednesday, is signed by the Party Secretary General Jacob Haji and Chairman Esau Kioni. Haji telling Citizen TV that Kenya Kwanza no longer espouses DP's ideals and that the coalition agreement entered into on the 12th of April 2022 simply provides for 30 days notice in writing for termination. While Muturi officially resigned as DP's party leader in October of 2022 to take up the role of Attorney General, his relationship with President William Ruto, with whom he entered into a coalition agreement in April of 2022, has been strained. Muturi in January this year condemning abductions, including that of his son, carried out by state agents, a public stand not looked on too kindly by the establishment.
This statement is not political. It is just to say, please, let us now discuss this issue.
There are reasons probably why Justin Muturi knows he's probably on his way out.
At the level of... But DP's stay in Kenya Kwanza has been tumultuous right from the start, with a section of the party's officials accusing Muturi of betrayal by entering into the coalition agreement. They later successfully sought relief from the political party's disputes tribunal, challenging Muturi's standing in the party and the legitimacy thereof of the coalition agreement. Muturi's path to the Kenya Kwanza Alliance coalition and a share of appointive positions in government later made clear by the High Court, which adjudged that the complaint challenging the legitimacy of the coalition agreement was made out of time. Olive Burrows, Citizen TV.
That's how things are on the ground, and that's how things are moving. Things are still, the syllabus is going so fast. The syllabus is running so fast. We need to be careful and know what's not happening or what's happening. This is how things are moving on the ground. I want to hear from you people, and we will be going smoothly. Let me today begin with the Jakin Dube. Leo tuanzie hapo kwako. Wewe maoni yako ni yapi?
Juu ya mambo ya Muturi.
Tuende nayo.
Mimi maoni yangu bado ni yale yale tu. Nasema hizi vitu zote ambazo zinafanyika kwa sababu ya vile tunavyoona vitu. Tunaona vitu kikabila tu. Kwa sababu hao wote wakina Justin Muturi, kina nani hao wote wanaangalia hizi vitu kikabila tu. Wote sisi wa Kenya. Kama tunaweza kuacha hiyo mambo ya kuangalia vitu kikabila, ndio tunaweza kufanya vizuri. Ndio tunaweza kujenga nchi yetu. Kwa sababu nchi yetu ilianzwa na msingi wa kikabila. Kenyatta alileta mambo ya ukabila katika nchi yetu. Kwa sababu unawezaje kuwa president wa makabila mengi Kenya, lakini utakuta kama wewe ni president unakuta kabila lako ndio wengi kwa cabinet. Hiyo ni namna gani? Hiyo ni Wakenya kwa vipi? Maana Wakenya tuko wengi, makabila mengi 44 sasa. Unakosaje kuchagua mtu? Kwa nini uchague mtu mmoja kwa hizo makabila? Kwa sababu ni wengi, makabila hizo ni wengi. Nani lazima utapata kwa kabila moja mtu ambaye amehitimu na anaweza kufanya hiyo kazi vizuri. Kwa nini unarundika tu kwa kabila lako wote? Hiyo ni ukosefu wa nidhamu na ukosefu wa kujua tunataka nchi yetu ikae namna gani. Huwezi kukaa na nchi ambayo unatumia ukabila. Hiyo haitaendelea hata kidogo. Haitaendelea hata kidogo. Ini mtu ukishaanza kubagua wenzako unakuwa na problem. Waingereza ni Europeans. Wamebagua wenzao, wametoka kwa Europe. Wako na problem. Hata sasa hii wako na problem, wanalia, wanataka warudi huko kwa sababu ya kubagua wenzao. Wana problem kabisa, kwa sababu walipokuwa Europe walikuwa na market ndani hapo, market ambayo hawatozwi kodi, hawatozwi chochote. Sasa hii wanatozwa kodi, bei za vitu zimeenda juu. So ubaguzi, mkianza kubaguana si kitu kizuri. Na Wakenya, hiyo ndio kitu inatuzuia. Ndio maana tunaona mambo maovu na hakuna kitu tunafanya. Asante sana.
Asante ni maoni ya Jakin Dube. Wacha tumsikize Prahabat.
So just a moment, I'm signing out. Prahabat, just hold on. Thank you, please. My last comment on the Muturi factor, I agree with Jakin Dube. All that is consideration, especially of the 2027 elections. There is aligning and realignment. And if you listen to Wamunyoro and listen to Muturi, they are reading from the same script. So the Wamunyoro wave, especially in Mount Kenya, cannot be ignored, especially if you emanate from there and you seek to be elected. They have even been vocal about it. All the people that will not line up with Wamunyoro should forget ever being elected is in the coming elections. And so that does not come as a surprise. Will it have an impact? I don't think so. I don't know how many members of parliament are in parliament on DP ticket. Can his walkout tilt the scale? I don't think so. But what we need as a people here is we as Kenyans need to take serious the violations of the constitutions and the law that are being done by public servants. The executive breaks the law, let it be known. Let the whole of us as Kenyans be able to tell him so. This issue of celebrating the breaking of the law and choosing to forget that because it has benefits, immediate benefits for that matter, you ignore the violation of the law, is it has consequences, and those consequences, wanasema majuto ni mjukuu, will follow us and will come later in our country. And so I believe kama Wakenya tunapaswa kushikilia sheria na kuinsist kila kitu kifanywe kulingana na sheria. Ni makosa kuwa kwamba executive is the highest in the land and it should dictate everything that happens and in the process make other people to lie low like envelopes so that they walk over everyone. What the constitution does not stipulate or make provision for. William Ruto, like I said, is determined to destroy all the institutions, destroy all systems that were working or are working, so that he becomes the number one worker, the number one father, the number one husband, the number one teacher, the number one mechanic, the number one engineer, the number one of everything. And when that happens, like it is bound to happen, we will need another time for change of constitution or rewriting of the constitution, which I can see will not take long before that agitation begin. And so wanasema stitch in time saves 9. This is the time for Kenyans to rally themselves together and say, no, the direction we are taking is not right and we should stop it. Not saying it's not right is not enough. There must be an action following that rejection of that direction by insisting it has to be done the right way. There is a proposition I was thinking about today on the cabinet. And it's crazy, but I think it's something that we need to consider. Why is it a requirement that when the new president comes in, he has to appoint his own ministers? These ministers, are they servants of the people or servants of the president? And I was giving the local, of course, I'm a villager, so I was giving the local example. When a new principal comes to a new school, does he come with teachers? He finds a way to work with the teachers he found on that compound. And those teachers will continue, wale wanafundisha biology, watafundisha biology, wa science, watafundisha science, wa English, wataendelea kufundisha English. He needs to now do what? Afanyiwe orientation, aanze kuwaongoza. Why is it that every time a new president comes in, he throws away even competent cabinet secretaries or ministers, all on the pretext that they are not in his political party or they were not his appointee? And in the process, what happens? Education collapses, agriculture collapses, healthcare collapses. All of it that there has been change of guard. This is something that we as Kenyans need to reconsider. In my opinion, we need to get these cabinet secretaries and permanent secretaries to be appointed by either the Public Service Commission and get them be in the office to serve Kenyans, the president to come and be orienting himself on how to work with the competent ministers that are ministers for the country, and not the people to run errands for him and push a political agenda. And also this over politicizing government services. There is no government that should exist without offering services. And so why should we go to politicize government services and turn them to be now a favor? Because what Ruto is doing is letting Kenyans think he's doing them a favor. Amewaletea market is a favor. Amewaletea barabara is a favor. Amewaletea stima is a favor. That's not a favor. It's their right. And that is what you ought to do. You should say, like Jesus said, I am just unworthy servants. I was only doing what is my duty to do. So this matter needs to be looked at keenly, and let's just return to the proper operation within the framework of the Constitution. These other adjustments are messing up the country. Look now how the education has been messed. I understand today he was talking of what help now. The money has been dispatched. When he has resisted help all along, since he got in office, bringing his class arrangement of allocating education funds according to the poverty of the parents of the student. All this madness of trying to get in office and you want to overturn everything needs to be controlled. And the only way to control them is let's have institutions that cannot be touched by the new person who is coming in office. When Ruto came in office, he did not bring the army. He did not bring the police. Those are institutions that are established and remain. I think the ministers in the government needs to be also placed in the same way. And if a minister violates the constitution, he can be gotten rid of without affecting the presidency or affecting anything. Why? He will be dealt with as an employee who has been hired by Kenyans to serve Kenyans, but he has gone against his code of conduct or wherever service provision responsibility. And so at the end of the day, if Kenya does not return to the rule of the law, let's then forget it completely. I don't think we'll be able to save it. But if we will succeed in returning the country to the rule of law, William Ruto will leave office on his way to committee, or leave office on his way for all the violations he has done. The immunity he's enjoying now is not permanent. And we must, as a people, document whatever that needs to be documented and be able to enforce, so that another person coming to office, he will need to understand if he doesn't operate within the provision of the Constitution, there are consequences thereof. The aspect of protecting people when they have violated the law and violated the Constitution, we need to walk away from it. Let's insist that everyone, no matter how high they are or how low they are, must remain, and Kenyans should relate with their leaders and vice versa, according to the law, not according to their tribe, not according to their where they come from, or even their level of education. You are a president because the constitution says so. You are a minister because the constitution says so. You are a member of parliament because the constitution says so. Not because you are a Luya or you are a Luo or you are a Kikuyu. So let's do the right thing, and the right thing will always take care of us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Let's link up again later on. I appreciate everyone. And what Shadiso said, we need your support to keep operations services taking place. So tukinyamaza, basi jua utazima kila mahali, and that will not be good. So let's ensure that we keep the services running. Lazima tununue tokens na tulipie hiyo stima Now, of course, when we are here, we are whole crew. That crew has to be taken care of. Tuko hapa na jikoni ingine ambayo lazima ikuwe na moto ama sauti zitapotea. So tafadhali tunaomba mtume michango yenu ili tusustain studio na kila mmoja apate nafasi ya kutekeleza wajibu wake. I'm still on medication. That's why I can't stay long. But getting better. Thank you. God
Pole
bless you.
pole Bernard, na kuombea upate uzima haraka iwezekanavyo. Manake sikujua ulipozungumza ya kwanza, sikuelewa, lakini sikujua kama ni wewe, lakini nimeelewa kama ni wewe. Kitu nataka tu kusema juu ya hiyo, mtanisamee, nasema Bernard, mpaka siku ile tutaandika constitution yetu wenyewe bila kukopi, kwa sababu hii kuvunja kutofuata constitution, kutofuata sheria right from the word tulipopata uhuru, wakati Kenyatta aligeuka kuwa mkabila, hakuna mtu amefuata. Kenya haijafuata law, hawafuati sheria. Tumekuwa hiyo mambo ya kutafuata sheria ndio imetufanya tumekuwa tukipigana mara kwa mara, hatujakuwa watulivu. Mpaka siku ile tutaandika constitution yetu wenyewe. Nishawaambia, ukitunga wimbo alafu mtu anataka kuimba kama wewe, haiwezekani. Hii ndio maana sisi katika Afrika ukiangalia tuko na misukosuko, kwa sababu tunaiga vitu za watu ambao hatujui. Tukikaa chini sisi wenyewe na tukubaliane kwamba hii ndio tutafuata, lakini hii mambo ya kuchagua watu fulani wanaenda wanakopi, wanapaste, kama hii constitution tunayo ni nzuri sana, lakini nani anaifuata? Pole Bernard, ugue upate uzima haraka.
Okay, so you just wanted to release Bernard.
Siamenda.
Okay,
Bernard.
so you can just make it. Not yet. You just wanted to release him. So I saw you raise a hand while he was speaking, so I thought maybe you had something to say to him.
Oh, I just wanted to wish him
before we
well.
let him go.
And also I wanted just to answer, part of his concern also. I'd give a little bit of a contribution. And that is having permanent ministers. And I think Jakindu Bey has answered it very, very well. But the point really is that when a new president comes in, he needs his own team that will, because he has to come with policies that he wants to inject into the system. But when the system is working well, there are permanent secretaries that are permanent. Those are the technocrats. Those are the people that are supposed to run, administrators run those systems. That's why I stated that CSS are basically PR people to explain. Their job is to kind of help form the policies and help the president to formulate those policies that are to be used. But there are permanent people there that should be able to run the government efficiently. That's why even if the government is not there, the ministers are not there, the president is not there, the government should run, because the PS are the real people who know what is going on, who are doing the things that are there. So ministers are political appointees. So that's why their position are not as strong. But the problem, of course, in Kenya is hiyo tu, ukabila, and that people are there and they usurp power from everybody else. When they become ministers, they take power away from everybody else in the ministry. And at the same time, the president waits like Ruto to take power away from the ministers. So there's that confusion there. So even if you make them permanent and you have a rogue president, there's still going to be a problem. And if you make them permanent and there's nobody to kind of shake them up a little bit sometimes, then they create their own little, their own little kingdoms in those ministries. So it's a very fluid thing. But at the end of the day, people got to obey the laws, live by the rules of the laws. We got to love our nation. Can't be tribalistic and expect to have a nation. Back to you. I just want to make that comment.
So, Lala, I get your point, but I asked a question. Why do we have a permanent army, a permanent police, and we have civil servants? You are talking of permanent secretaries who are permanently there, and they are supposed to do the service. So I'm asking, like, for example, the Ministry of Education. These permanent secretaries were there when all these changes were being introduced by the new government, that were policies that were going to directly affect the way education is going to be done. And like where we are right now, education is either on the deathbed or on support machine in this country. Why wasn't there any form of resistance from the so-called permanent secretaries in the deviation from the really purpose of education in the country when they are being introduced by the new president? And so when I say when it's not just having permanent ministers, but we have permanent ministries, okay? And their ministers can also be accountable to Kenyans. But if they are placed there to serve the interest of the president, then Kenyans suffer. Remember, in the past, we didn't change ministers like we change nowadays. Although the past regimes, I'm talking about the Kenyatta and the Moi regimes, were not subject to elections, the presidency. But we had Mike Kibaki was a minister for finance almost permanently until we did him in the national exam, who is the minister for finance. Olo Aringo, minister for education forever. And then we had who else? I mean, today, if you go to the classroom and ask who is the minister for agriculture, nobody has any idea who is the minister for what. All of it is serving politics, but destroying the country. Where should we put the priority? Progressively building up the country or serving political, wherever patronage that is there, but for a season. But Kenya is permanently here. Our children we are giving birth to are supposed to grow in this kind of an environment. So why are we messing up the country to favor politics when the politics are supposed to be secondary to the welfare of the country?
Bernard, you know, Jakindu Bey gave us all the answers. Because you see, the problem is that, you see, even if a minister is brought in by the president, because you give them, they have to have their own people they need to help them do the job. But they're still at the vetting of a system that is fair and clear.
That is where I have a problem, Reverend Lala. Why should I come with my own people? What is wrong with other Kenyans? Because every Kenyan has a right to serve the government or serve the country. Why should I come? If I come, for example, just a moment, I come to pastor. I come to pastor, and I bring my assistant pastor. I bring my song leader. I bring my chairman of the ladies, the chairman of the men, and all that because I want to secure myself. What happens? Eventually, that church will become my personal issue.
It's true. But you see, Bernard, the system that are strong, that are working well, what happens is that you can select anybody, but they have to meet certain criteria. In other words, you can't just bring in your family members and put them there and expect, in other words, you cannot do that. So even though you're allowed to get the people that you need, they have to show the face of Kenyans. They have to have the competency. The parliament will have a say on them. Judiciary will have a say on them. At the end of the day, if there's anything wrong, they are kicked out If they can't toe the line, they're out. Okay. As a matter of fact, they are a reflection of you as a leader. In other words, if the team is not doing their job, then the leader, of course, the member of the team, the leader is responsible for. So actually, it's a check and balance in it. But in Kenyan situation, it's the opposite. You get people you want, your own tribe, and you are in the cabinet. You can hire anybody. That is the problem. It is actually that tribalism and corruption. And with corruption and tribalism, even if you put the permanent people there, you will have permanent ministries where certain language is once spoken in that ministry, and they will tell you you're doing a good job. But is that the face of Kenya? So I think at the end of the day, it's the rule of law, it's the constitution that reflects our wishes, and the people willing to stand for their country and live with that, without that tribalistic, mindset that Kenyatta set in the beginning. That was the saddest day, when because look at Tanzania, in terms of tribalism, they have done well because they had a leader who instilled that in the beginning, from day one. So I don't know. It's a hard one. Back to you, I think, Jadizo. Okay. Awesome. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Lala. Thank you, everyone. See you later.
Okay, back to you. I think I was done. Yes, somebody else can continue. Yeah, but at the end of the day.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I was saying, thank you, Bernard, for that. So that's Bernard. Bernard is still on medication, so we just release him. But nonetheless, we just thank him for taking the time to join us in the conversation. But he's opened a really interesting line of thought, and as I bring it back to the mic. The right of Mike Belong was Furaha Bad. So as you continue with whatever your submission on the issue with JB Moturi, I would also want to hear your thoughts on just that conversation that Bernard was having with Lala. When we elect a new president, should they just come in with everything new and do away with people who had set up systems? I don't know I just want to hear your contribution to that conversation. Yes, so the mic back to you.
Okay, for the DP party, I think the perceptions will work because there is a sense in which Muturi, based on what happened to his son, it makes sense for him to maybe cut ranks with the person whom he considers the oppressor. But I think in terms of the effect it has, if it doesn't have if it doesn't have members of parliament, then the effect is low. Apart from the perception, I think it creates a consistency in terms of, I'm faulting you for having done this. I don't think it's right. So I'm also cutting links, with you based on my principle now, or the fact that I don't agree with what you did, or based on our understanding, I didn't expect your government to go to this extent that would affect including my son. So I think it's in line with the criticism that he's putting against what the regime has done. And then in terms of what Bernard is seeing as a line of thought, that why can't we do this? Why can't we do this? Again, it also boils down to what our constitution is. Remember, when we enacted it, we said it's not watertight, there are some things that we felt, they still needed panel beating. That hasn't happened in a long time. BBI was something that was supposed to come and try and to panel beat some of the areas, but that is neither here nor there. And as much as it seems like there are two different schools of thought, what Lala is saying and what Bernard is saying, if you look at it, we are actually saying that, why would you as a president come in? There's a minister, as much as you have appointed them, ideally, based on our constitution, it's not supposed to be a political appointment. That's why we said we don't even want politicians to be elected. Though Uhuru went ahead and, did some political appointments, or not political, appointed some politicians. And now Ruto came and did a lot of appointments were of politicians. But ideally, these were supposed to be technocrats, people who are not leaning, they have no clear political leanings. Of course, they are humans and they might have, their preferences, but they are professionals who are going to stand out there and do what is right by their jobs and by the ministries that they serve. So why would you, as a president coming in, want to interfere with a technocrat, really? So is it something that we need to safeguard into the constitution so that it doesn't happen? You can't put everything into the constitution. You can't put a law to everything. Sometimes you expect people to be integral enough to just do what is expected of them, what is the right thing to do. But of course, if we have somebody who is not following the rule of law, they will come and they will not feel safe with people whom they have not elected. They'll see them as threats. They'll see them as people who might stand and do things different from what he feels should be done, because this person might want to execute the right thing. So, and that doesn't serve my interest as the president. So that, I think that's where the friction is. But if our constitution was working the way it is working, then as a president, just the example that Bernard has given, as a principal, you come and you don't remove the teachers. You don't even you work with all the ones that you found there. With time, if you're the sitting principal and you find that maybe somebody is not performing as well, that's the time you relieve them of their duties and you replace them. So, or if you are observing, okay, Ruto was a deputy president. If in coming in, he felt that there was one or two people who hadn't done well during their tenure with Uhuru, then maybe you can do one or two replacements. And then for the sake of continuity, a good number of these people should be retained, because that's what happens in circles where things are working, where structures are working. You don't come into an institution as a new CEO or the administrator and you change everything. You don't. You come in, you look at what is happening, you observe, you want to improve the institution, you find that there's a culture that is not serving where you want to go. Maybe you make changes here and there, but it can't be an overhaul that you're selecting a totally new cabinet. I think those are some of the things that, as we said, our constitution is not perfect. We are looking at it in terms of how has it worked for us so far, so that in case we are going to a referendum to change some of the things, those are some of the ideas that we might think, is there something that we need to secure? Is there, do we need to have the CS having security of tenure? It's just thinking and trying to put things into place. But ideally, it should work. The way it exists, it should work. Except that we don't have people who are integral enough to come in and say, I don't have to overhaul this. I just need to maybe change one or two things, because based on what I saw, maybe this area might need somebody different. But if I'm afraid, then I change everyone and put everyone who I think will toe the line that I want them to toe. So that's my take on those two issues of Muturi and what Bernard was trying to throw into the line of thought that we can discuss it. And I want to drop off, and as I drop off, I think my final submission would be, even as we try and look at this political space, there's a sense of larger awareness that needs to take place, because, like I keep saying, some of the problems we have is that our electoral process is such that it doesn't get us the right people. You know, if Douglas or Shadizo were to vie today, they might not get elected, not because they are incapable. What do you have? You'll have to go around, you know, the constituency or the space that you want to represent. You'll have to, so once in a while you get people who say they didn't spend a cent, or they worked with very minimal, you know, finances. But there's a sense in which I'll be asking, what does Douglas have? You see, not how competent he is, but, you know, atakuja, atatuachia mapesa huku mtaani, you know. So we are still struggling with the culture that we have built, so that we will end up getting a few good people, but a majority will be people who had influence, had networks, not necessarily because they were the most capable or the most qualified. So that is something that is still, I still see it as a big struggle for us in terms of getting the right people into office. And then also, you know, somebody has a good career in law or in medicine, but they will leave it so that they go into politics. And you're asking yourself, are they going there because it's a calling, or because they are going to get, you know, they're going to make lots of money, the kind of money that they cannot make as career doctors, career lawyers, so that there's this pull that the politics has, that, you know, people go there and get rich so fast. So those are the things that I struggle with in terms of if we want change, and we want to be able to get things working for us in future, Ruto might go, and then we get somebody who is, you know, Uhuru went and Ruto is worse. And if we get Ruto out and you get somebody who is worse than Ruto, because the system does not give us an opportunity to get somebody who is, you know, better than Ruto. Because the reason I say this, I was thinking about the elections, and, you know, in 2013, there was a lot of controversy on how that election went, and there was a lot of evidence. Kathy Kilonzo did, you know, was exceptional at that time, a young lawyer, stood out, you know. There were a lot of points that they have, but when we looked at our activist, a career activist, a CJ, whom we thought maybe you know, there was an expectation we had of him, and, you know, all we had was like, it's upheld. You know, that English that confused us so hard, you know, it's upheld, and boom, everything, doesn't matter what happened, you know. And that is something that I keep on looking at, even as Gen Zs are looking at career activists to be the people who are going to carry on the mantle. Because some of the gaps that we have between 2010 up to now, there was a period there where a lot needed to be put in place in order to be able to secure the strength, to give the Constitution its legs for it to be able to walk fast and run. And there is a sense in which I feel like the Mutunga did not deliver, not to my expectation, based on what was there. And when this was birthed, in order for this baby to be able to walk and run, I think Mutunga could have done more as a CJ. So yeah, those are the things that I keep looking at, even when we are going forward. There are some people who don't want us to stick to history, but even the Bible is history. Even those of us who believe in the Bible, even the Bible is history. It's not what it, but it's a live document. So some of the things that we are looking at, the past helps us to look at the present and also to maybe focus on the future. So yeah, that's what I wanted. Some
Thank
of
you,
the
Prabhat.
very tight, the nitty-gritties. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhat, for that submission. Let me listen to Kome as we were winding up with Lala. Kome, can you get me Mugambi?
Looks like he slept.
Okay, Mugambi is not getting it properly. Let me hear Lala. Lala, can you sum up as you close up for us?
Yes, my sister, I think I agree with you, but it's a little bit of a challenge to all of us. And I think Jakindube's point that the problem is us, we the people, because if you make the CS permanent, basically we are doing away with the government itself, because the leader will come in who may not have any say at all, because this is political, where politics plays a big role. And that's where, technocrats and politicians are supposed to kind of work together. So I think the older system, which I don't think Jakindu may buy into it, was the idea that we have the minister and we had the permanent secretary. The permanent secretary is the civil servant, the one really the CEO almost of the ministry. So that when a policy has been formulated, this person is able to work it in the system. So that the minister himself is in between the politicians and the system. And that way, a president can have his vision, because look at all countries, minister after election, a new government comes in, and it is usually a party that comes in. That's why when a party is built on one person, it's dangerous. When a party comes in, a party is strong enough because it's organized. So when they come to form the government and this person does not work well, the party also checks on the person as well as the people themselves check on the person. So there are those checks and balance in the system. So that when a minister or a president comes in with the people to govern, the interest that they will be injecting new ideas, economy is supposed to go up, those promises they made, they're able to do it. And if they can do it, they are out in the next 5 years. And even while he's in the office, is the president because he's been elected, but each and every person that comes in has to meet the threshold of the Constitution, required in the Constitution. So you can't just walk in there because you are a brother of a president or whoever you are to assume the office. So you have to meet all those rigorous requirements. And that was designed primarily to make sure that we don't have PSS, public secretaries, who are kings in those departments. There is somebody to shake them up a little bit. At the same time, the minister is there to make sure that this person work according to what the party and the nation want, so that they are not thrown out of the office. So I think that the design is actually thought through very well, because even the design that you guys are presenting and Bernard yourself sounds good, because the good things have been going on. But that's what dictators will say. You know, if somebody comes in, they would destroy this, so they keep in those power forever and ever. So it's almost like we gotta look at both sides and actually not throw the baby on the bathwater, because some people are bad. Therefore, we don't want them here, because they will overshadow somebody because of their politicians. And even the argument for technocrats coming into political system, it's always challenging, because sometimes they find it really hard. The way they were in the private sector, when they come into political side, is another ballgame altogether, because they can't just push things. And that's why I think that those two important people are the peers and the minister, the CS. If we can have them, people are ethical, working well, and a president that knows what he's doing, has a vision for the country, then we can see those policies, those ideas, those ideals kind of siphoning, coming in through, and then we have a beautiful nation. Or else, as you know, if we are corrupt, if we are tribalistic, it doesn't matter what you change. You change people, change system, things will stay the same. Still, we get it in our brains. Still, we believe in what we are doing. Till we have a leader who believes in the rule of law, we're still going to have a big problem, because the Constitution is just as good as if we obey it. If we don't obey it, it doesn't matter how good it is in papers. You know, nothing get done. Okay, I think I'm done. Thank you very much, Dizo and Douglas. And I think Kume, I haven't been.
Yes.
Back. We thought you'd napped. Come.
Yeah, I had an issue with my laptop, but I had gone to get the charger. So I've been listening to the submissions, and I think it's good how things are moving, because I think now we are gathering momentum again. We have just realized that these people cannot govern, which is good. But there's also something I want to say. When the political establishment have managed to do something so far. They have managed to make us stop talking about June 2024. Now we are talking about other unimportant things. If I can recall well, the Gen Z movement had a list of almost 50 demands. We have agreed that the constitution is well written, but the demands that these guys had were specific. And these people, they were all surprised. It took them by the way they used to say they will not believe, they did not believe. Even the opposition at that time did not know how to react. Even the clergy, every person in this establishment did not know how to react, because they had never seen a time when people were asking clear demands, specific demands. Walikuwa pande moja wote. They all felt the power going away from them, and that is why even when you see on both camps, on Wamunyoro and the other camp, they are all talking about 2027. They are just talking about 20. These people have managed to make us forget why we went to the street. They have managed to make many people forget the real Independence Day of Kenya, which was June 25th, 2024. All those all those they call first liberation, second liberation. Maybe the constitution is what could match June 25th last year. But now we are all talking about useless things. Even Raila was silent when young people were. We know him. We know how he would have reacted. We knew if he would have just supported these guys. If he would just supported us, he will be the president right now. There's nothing that Kenya Kwanza will do. You know, a story is told, and it's a true story about France. They had reached where we are going because this momentum has begun, and even if it does not happen today or tomorrow, it is coming. What these people are doing by looting this country dry. In France, when the citizens decided to go for these people after they had taken their taxes greedily, the king was not actually hung. He was beheaded together with his wife, together with all the establishment and their children. These people are even putting their futures at risk, thinking they are growing something. So I think they should be smarter than that, because the generation that is coming next, it will not want to know, it will not have this story of uongozi unapewa na Mungu. You will not sell that cheap old tired story. You come and cheat us, then you tell us to blame God. They did not see what is. Then they started fighting with ghosts. They were blaming everyone apart from themselves, because everyone wants to self-preserve. Even this DP who resigned today, who was the Attorney General. When the finance bill was announced, he was quiet. He saw what was coming. Now we are even wondering whether his son was part of the movement, or he was arrested for something different, or he was among the ghosts that were being boxed. But until his son was arrested, that is when he woke up. If that didn't happen, he will still be mweupe kama pamba. So we have to know these people for what they are. And they just want to self-preserve. Next, in 2 years, they regroup, and the story begins all over again. But it is for the people to decide what they want, because. But I'm happy that the future is going to be very bright. I am so certain the future is going to be very bright, and people will pay for their sins, especially people who have those big sins. Those people will not be let to go. So, and the future is very bright, but it is not happening as fast as it should, but it is coming. So asanteni sana, for the opportunity.
Thank you for thank you for the submission. Indeed, yes, Robert.
One last word for Koome. 20 years from now, that 25th June that you consider extremely a milestone will not look like a milestone for somebody who of that generation. You're the one who has lived it, and you believe that it is a big milestone. So I would just tell you, some of us also lived through something that we consider extremely big. You weren't there to see it, and we think it is a milestone. Don't consider it useless. Just the way I wouldn't want 20 years or 40 years from now someone to trivialize what happened on 25th June. So just because you weren't there for these other ones doesn't make them useless or trivial. Thank you.
Yeah, to answer that, I was actually there for a few, but the one for 2024 was different from the ones before, just because of one reason. The access to information has really improved. The previous ones, people will be led to a certain opinion, like what we are seeing in the media, the legacy media. What they report and what is on the ground is totally different. Yesterday, I think there were people being robbed on Thika Road and Mathare. These guys only came to report it today, but they are reporting it today to everyone who knows what happened because of the increase of speed and the increase of access to information. Number two, most people are more educated than the previous instances. And why do I say this? The number of people who can digest information and have had access to education, it's progressively upgrading. It is going to get to the critical mass. But for June 25th, that was a plus. And it had reached the levels that had been unprecedented. These people did not believe that people would be so enlightened. And it's not that we are playing down the ones before, but I think also the number of people who are now in the know are more than the people who are there. Even when the 2010 Constitution was being written, the people who had access to real information, you could not compare them with now. Even with the 1992 issues, and it was all treasury of IPPG and whatever, and the guy saying that he's going to give you, he's going to be there for the next, I think, 10 years, and I think 5 years. You cannot do that in this Kenya of today. Ruto cannot come and tell us, I will leave power after 10 years. So don't question me until I go. That is totally unheard of. The momentum is growing. The information is spreading more. Things are boiling nicely, and I think Kenya has a bright future. Not to downplay anything, but I think because of the factors that I have named, people could not attain certain levels of resistance. Thank you.
Thank you for the submission, and really thank you for everyone on board for bringing up your thoughts, and we appreciate it. For they have been good and they have been having a nice moment. I think if that last have something to close up with.
Yes. I was just looking for. Okay, I've lost it. Maybe I'll look for it and include it later. But anyway, so it's Tuni Mohamud was saying why he's just moment. Tony Mohamud was saying on the issue of JB Moturi, she was saying, why is he still working on government? He could just resign. He's eating with government. I can't trust Moturi Manenos. Okay, so before the show, I was watching JB Moturi on JKL, Citizen TV, with an interview with Ayub Abdikadir. And he asked him that question. So I've read that comment. Why don't you just resign? And the response that he gave was a little bit it threw me off a little bit. He said that resigning from government, that would make him a coward, that he should just sit there and speak out about against abductions and illegal arrests, and I just couldn't understand that school of thought. The analogy that came to my mind was, an analogy I once read in a book where, a dog is sitting on a nail, on a sharp nail, and it has pierced into its skin, and it's just sitting there groaning. And instead of standing up and off the nail, it thinks that by sitting there and groaning, then that is solution enough. Yes, you could fight the government from within. Maybe you could be more effective than we who are fighting it from outside here. But just complaining about the abductions isn't solution enough. To me, I think resigning if you don't believe in the government way of governing should be a better leadership statement than just sitting there and complaining and attending cabinet meetings that you don't believe in. I think we need to cultivate a culture of resignations if you no longer find it tenable to work in government. But anyway, I'm still tired from yesterday, so I cannot continue with the show. But that conversation on the conversation that Bernard introduced, I think it's something that we need to talk about more. And I've had contributions from Fra and Lala and Akome and who was there? I think Jakindube too made a contribution. I think our problem is the political culture of tokenism, where when a new government comes in, then they have people that they have to reward, people they campaigned with. Now we have a new formation, and some people have to be rewarded courtesy of this formation. And it just disrupts that continuity in governance, because there are policies. Government is just one entity. Politicians come and go, but government is there, and its policies should remain. For instance, I don't know if this government is actually working on Vision 2030 that began during Kibaki's time. I'm not sure. I don't think I've heard Ruto ever speaking about it. But there should be people who've worked there, and when a new government comes into place, they should be able to tell him, but this is what we've been working on over the years. Here is where we are. I think government should have that continuity. I think that's just a really interesting conversation that we need to have some other time. So probably next time when we have such a conversation, I'll bring back that angle, and maybe we can talk about it more. So up to there, Shadizo, I think maybe I'm done, and not unless you want to give out goodies.
I don't have much to say. What I ask you to appreciate you and let us play with the M-Pesa number and the till number, and it will be great, so that I don't drink only water. I'm tired of drinking water.
Yeah, I've found that quote. Let me just read it. It's by Chinua Achebe. And okay, yesterday while I was closing, I asked you guys, is democracy a journey or is it a destination? Because I find these people who keep saying that so and so fought for democracy that we have today. But there were people before those people who fought for freedom, and there were people before those people who fought for other freedoms. So yesterday I just asked you, is democracy a destination that we get to a place and we say, ta-da, we have democracy now? Or is it a journey that we keep fighting for? And even after us, there will be other people who will feel some discomfort, who will feel that some of their freedoms are not at a level that they want them to be, and they will still fight for them. So that's just something I want you to keep thinking about, and so that you're not held in perpetual chains that someone keeps gaslighting you that I fought for you, so I deserve power and that kind of stuff. But anyway, my quote by Chinua Achebe goes to this effect. A functioning, robust democracy requires a healthy, educated, participatory followership and an educated, morally grounded leadership. Yeah. I rest my case.